Yes, Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
So, have you heard the latest bombshell about Tiffany Henyard? Hold on to your seats because this one's a wild ride. Apparently, the so-called super mayor of Dolton has decided to throw in the towel, realizing that the walls are finally closing in on her. And get this, she supposedly made a secret deal with the FBI to save herself from prison. I know, right? It sounds like something straight out of a movie. But the question on everyone's mind is, what does this mean for her and all the people caught up in her web of corruption?
The legal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
Let's dive in. Tiffany Henyard, the woman who once ruled over Dolton like it was her personal kingdom, seems to have hit rock bottom. Rumors are swirling that she has struck a deal with the FBI, and not just any deal, but one that could completely flip the script on the town's political scene. Now, the whole thing is shrouded in secrecy, but sources are whispering that Henyard's lawyers, who, by the way, are the same top-tier criminal defense attorneys known for working with celebrities in their darkest hours, have been working overtime to cut a deal. And what's that deal? She's allegedly willing to give up everyone who's helped her along the way in exchange for walking away without a prison sentence. It's no secret that Henyard has been in hot water for a while now. Between the accusations of misuse of taxpayer money, shady dealings, and extravagant spending, it was only a matter of time before things got really serious. But this move, this alleged deal with the feds, could be the final nail in the coffin, not just for her, but for everyone who's been riding her coattails.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's supervisor.
Imagine the scene: Henyard, once so confident and untouchable, realizing that she's on the brink of being arrested. Facing that prospect, she turns to her high-powered legal team and says, "It's time. I'll give them everything they want." She admits to corruption, points the finger at her allies, and even promises to step down as mayor, all in a desperate bid to avoid a jail cell. It's the kind of political drama that could put any Hollywood thriller to shame. And if the rumors are true, it means that the people who've stood by her, even as the signals piled up, are about to find themselves in deep trouble.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just got it.
Let's not forget, Tiffany Henyard didn't get to where she is alone. She had allies, some of whom have already started to turn on her as the heat intensified. Take Christopher Gonzalez, a Thornton Township trustee, who just last year was a staunch supporter. But as more details about Henyard's corrupt dealings came to light, Gonzalez was one of the first to publicly distance himself from her, even calling for her resignation at a township meeting. And honestly, can you blame him? The crimes that Henyard and her crew have been accused of are nothing short of shocking.
Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
We're talking about serious misuse of taxpayer money, huge spending on lavish events, and a laundry list of corrupt practices that go all the way back to when she first took office. Remember that infamous Taste of Thornton Township event? Henyard shelled out more than $85,000 just for a few hours of entertainment, $30,000 for a singer, $20,000 for a rapper, and the rest for bounce houses, comedians, and a sound system. The kicker? Almost no one even showed up. It was a flop. But that didn't stop her from racking up bills on the township's credit cards.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
And the spending didn't stop there. First-class flights, high-end hotels, and thousands spent on personal security details, all at the expense of Dolton's already struggling residents. As if that wasn't bad enough, it's rumored that she even used village funds for personal purchases on sites like Amazon and Waygear. The whole thing reads like a playbook for corruption, and her allies were right there with her, enjoying the benefits of Henyard's misuse of public funds.
The township residents are paying for her funds.
But here's where it gets really messy. Those allies that she's allegedly throwing under the bus to save her own skin, they've got their own skeletons in the closet. For instance, one of her closest confidantes, Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey, has been caught up in his own scandal. He's facing federal charges for bankruptcy fraud after being accused of hiding assets and income to avoid paying creditors. Lacey's troubles go even deeper, though his loyalty to Henyard has raised eyebrows for years, especially after it was revealed that he racked up over $200,000 in overtime, all while Dolton's police department struggled with underfunding and high crime rates.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
But Lacey isn't the only one. There's Keith Freeman, Henyard's former village administrator and right-hand man, who also got entangled in his own federal indictment for bankruptcy fraud. Freeman was another key player in Henyard's circle, often the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. He was even listed as the registered agent for Henyard's controversial charity, which has been under fire for failing to disclose financial details about how it spent its funds. What makes Freeman's case particularly interesting is that, like Lacey, he appears to be cooperating with investigators, which could explain why Henyard is feeling the pressure to cut her own deal.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we had big bingo.
And let's not forget the scandal that might be the final straw for Henyard, the alleged assault cover-up that's left the town reeling. A former assistant of Henyard's has accused a Dolton trustee of assaulting her during a taxpayer-funded trip to Las Vegas. When the woman went to Henyard for help, the mayor allegedly promised to take care of it. But instead, she put the woman on unpaid leave. The entire incident is under investigation by the Illinois Department of Human Rights. And it's said to be one of the key reasons why Henyard is finally caving to the pressure and seeking a deal with the feds. If this assault case is part of what she's offering up in exchange for leniency, then there's no telling how deep this scandal could go.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
Now, let's rewind a bit and take a closer look at how we got here, how Tiffany Henyard went from being Dolton's youngest ever mayor to the heart of one of Illinois' biggest political scandals in recent memory. When Henyard first took office in 2021, she was hailed as a fresh face, someone who could clean up the town's messy political scene. But it didn't take long for things to go south.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
From the beginning, Henyard's leadership was marked by chaos and controversy. Dolton residents quickly realized that Henyard wasn't the reformer they'd hoped for. Instead, she turned the town into her own personal playground. She ran the village like a dictatorship, silencing critics and consolidating power in a way that alienated even her closest allies. For example, when she vetoed a resolution calling for an investigation into her own spending habits, she claimed that the village board was nothing more than a boys' club that didn't want women in power. It was a classic deflection, and while it may have worked for a while, the truth eventually caught up with her.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Under her reign, Dolton's finances went into a tailspin. The town, which was already struggling economically, found itself drowning in debt. As of this year, the village is reportedly facing a $3.5 million deficit, and that's on top of the hundreds of thousands of dollars wasted on unnecessary police overtime, first-class travel, and luxury expenses. In one jaw-dropping instance, it was revealed that Henyard spent more than $40,000 on Amazon in a single day. Meanwhile, basic services in Dolton were falling apart. Residents complained about poor infrastructure, uncollected garbage, and rising crime rates, while Henyard continued to live like a queen on the taxpayer's dime. The town's crime rate has spiraled out of control. Dolton has become a hotbed of violence and lawlessness, with residents fearing for their safety. But instead of addressing the issue, Henyard diverted police resources to serve her own interests. Former Dolton Police Chief Robert Collins spoke out about how Henyard's personal security detail drained the already stretched thin police force. Officers were pulled off the streets to chauffeur Henyard around town, leaving the community vulnerable to crime. Collins, who was fired by Henyard in what many believe was a retaliatory move, called the situation critical and said that the department was on the verge of breaking.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking.
And while the crime rate skyrocketed, Henyard's iron grip on the town tightened. Critics who dared to speak out against her were met with retaliation. One former Dolton trustee, Valeria Stubbs, accused Henyard of personally harassing her after Stubbs tried to organize a recall effort. Stubbs even believes that Henyard was behind a drive-by shooting at her home, an accusation that Henyard has of course denied. But the pattern is clear. Henyard's rule was marked by intimidation and fear, and anyone who got in her way was quickly silenced.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything, it'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
So now, as rumors of her secret deal with the FBI swirl, the question becomes, is this really the end of Tiffany Henyard's reign of terror? If she truly is offering up her allies in exchange for leniency, what does that mean for the people who helped her along the way? Are they about to face the consequences of their own corruption? Or will they too find a way to weasel out of responsibility? The people of Dolton deserve answers and they deserve justice. But for now, all we can do is wait and see how this dramatic saga unfolds. Will Henyard resign, walk away from it all, and avoid prison? Or will the full extent of her crimes and those of her accomplices finally be brought to light? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. What do you think? Will Henyard's supposed deal with the feds be enough to save her? And what about her allies? Are they about to face the consequences for their involvement in this massive scandal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding political drama.